What up, Chipper Chaps? This is Chipper Chap Chat episode 116, apparently.
116.
I am FooRay.
And I'm Chamba.
Let's talk about some nerdy stuff, Jeffrey.
Yeah. It's been
Mm,
about a fortnight since we last recorded. Due to,
It's been all the nights.
yeah, just we've had stuff, man. I've been
But now we're
away.
going to record like three of these in a or
Two.
no, two in a row.
Two in
Two
a
in a
row.
row.
Two in a row.
So let's get right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Get some new stuff.
All right, so first things, I'm not sure if you've been following the reboot. I guess is it a reboot or is it just a new season? Either way, Roseanne came
Mm,
back on recently, and it's now off.
right. Right.
So
It canceled already.
yeah, that's a thing.
Roseanne tweeted something about somebody on Trump's cabinet looking like a Planet of the Apes character.
Oh, okay, so that's what happened. I wasn't really
Yeah.
following the whole situation.
And basically, everybody said because that lady happens to be black and Planet of the Apes is a movie about monkey people,
Okay.
that what she said was inherently a racist thing,
Okay.
and not necessarily just based on. I think more accurately, Roseanne was making a visual
Yeah.
gag, but they took it that way, and I think the head of the company that Roseanne is on right now is a black woman,
Okay.
and so that probably was no
Not good.
bueno.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're owned by Disney. We just Wakanda forevered.
Yep. Forever and
That
ever.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
No.
And so yeah, that's that. No more Roseanne,
No
and
more
it was
Roseanne.
like super popular return.
It was a very popular return.
And I thought it was doing well. I don't know how well it was actually doing, but I thought it was doing well. I don't know if it like dropped off a ton, but
Right, right. Well, I mean, now, yeah. It's dropped
yeah,
off for sure.
all the way off apparently.
Kind of sucks for, like, all the cast members and stuff.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking about it mainly is it sucks because that's a lot of people's jobs lost, not even
Mm-hmm.
just cast, but all behind the scenes crew and yada yada too. So that's kind of a bummer for like one person's dumb thing. But I also saw on trending on Facebook or something that
Right.
the chick that plays the daughter Darlene, they're like already trying to like maybe do like a spin-off thing with her,
Okay.
and like so that they would kind of take most of the cast that way. And so I don't know if you would still get like John Goodman in some capacity or what, but um it seems like something that could be cool to do.
I mean, you watched a couple of the episodes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I did too. And that would be a family that would make sense to follow.
right.
So if they do a spin-off, I guess it could work. But
Actually, I legitimately think that they probably should have just started there. I mean, like
right,
I understand because you have everybody, why not do everybody? But I think in a similar way to how they did Fuller House, they
yep,
could have easily
that's
just
that's what
now
I
the
thought
show
too.
is
Mm-hmm.
Darlene and it's her kids, and you have Becky is the
Exactly,
sister instead
exactly.
of
Because you
the
can still
aunt,
have essentially all the family members
right? Because
show up every now and then.
if they have Darlene moves away,
Mm-hmm.
they can kind of follow them, this
Yep.
two sisters going together,
Mm-hmm.
and take pretty much everybody
Yep.
with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them were on the show all the time anyway, like the
Yep.
youngest boy
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. They only showed up occasionally. They could still do that at
I
another
know.
place
I know.
without Dan and Roseanne.
And
And
Dan
it
could
sucks
show
to
up.
not have them. But yeah, exactly. They could always just have them
Mm-hmm.
show up together, even if they wanted to. But or just have Dan show up.
Yep.
Who? So
That's the thing. Like, it wouldn't have been too big of a thing if it
right,
was that already. And Roseanne, obviously, if this had occurred where Roseanne did this thing,
right.
she might not show up on the show anymore, and that would have been fine because it would have been Darlene's show anyways.
Right. But I think, it was just too tempting to not do it
Mm,
because we have everybody still around.
absolutely, absolutely. I understand why they would want to just why they wanted to continue with just it being a Roseanne show.
Right, right.
Right. But yep, that's cancelled. So
And because they killed Dan in
that's
like
why I
season
always
9 of the.
thought that was weird. Like if they could retcon that, why couldn't they just?
It would be, but wouldn't it be weird if they start Darlene and like they go like, what actually happened is Roseanne died
Yeah,
and Dan stayed alive, and like they could end up doing that.
they could if they wanted to. It's just
Right,
at this point they're in a really weird situation right now.
they are. It's a kind of crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised that that's
Mm-hmm.
all it took, considering well, she was already that. She already talked shit on
Right,
Twitter
right.
all
That's
the
why. But
time.
then was this the part that just crossed the line too far?
I I apparently definitely,
Yeah,
because clearly
for
it
sure.
got canceled,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't know why of all of the crazy shit,
Why
like
was this
that was
thing?
the.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's that. What else did we have in the news?
So after the Bumblebee movie that's going to come out this year, there was
Yeah.
supposed to be another Transformers movie,
Uh-huh.
but now that's been officially cancelled. So there's going to be a bunch of like I know Hasbro plan on doing just like a bunch of new Hasbro films. Like there's a new GI Joe that's possibly in the works. There was a possible was it Mask or something? They had a few. They had a few films. Micronauts possibly.
Right. I think I did hear
Yeah,
Micronauts
they had a
thing.
few things that they've got licensed to because they've got licensed to a lot of different properties
Right.
from mainly like 80s cartoons slash toys, 90s toys as well. So
Which
they,
is it's cool if you think about it, right?
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's kind of like it's an Avengers universe with all of the literally all the toys you had. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
that's
it's
massive.
it's like Toy Box the movie
It is Toy
instead
Box
of
the movie.
you know
It is Toy Box the movie, and
that's kind of interesting.
and it could be like I say they were supposed to do another Transformers film in the the current Bay universe, but
Hmm.
that's not going to happen anymore.
Right.
Um, but they're gonna with this Hasbro thing, and obviously like recently Hasbro also acquired Power Rangers.
You
This is part of it.
have they ever mixed Power Rangers and GI Joe before,
No,
or Power
never.
Rangers and Transformers before?
I not that I can recall. Power Rangers really crossovers with anything. The only recent thing that I've seen was that whole Power Rangers and DC.
I feel like I
They
remember
did a
that.
comic book where it was Power Rangers and Justice League.
Right.
And obviously recently in the Power Rangers game it was Power Rangers and Street Fighter,
Right.
which is random as.
But you participated
Yeah, I
in it.
did, but it's still random. But yeah, Power Rangers like Hasbro recently announced that they're gonna do that they're gonna continue doing Power Rangers movies. I'm not sure whether or not it's gonna be a sequel to what they've already done or uh, entirely brand new.
If it's a sequel that's interesting,
Mm,
from what the guy, like the rest of the guy's quote, it made it sound like
a new thing.
a new thing because they're going to be establishing. That's why there's no more Transformers 2,
Yeah,
is
yeah, because
because
they want to
they're
do a
starting
completely
everything
yeah.
fresh where everything is connected.
I'm good with that because I think
I'm
personally
good.
Transformers
I'm good with
needed.
seeing what they do
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
for sure, for sure.
But man, that's like it. Just thinking about, because like with the Marvel stuff, you already know inherently if it's in the
Hmm.
Marvel
For
universe,
sure.
they can know each other. With this one, it's properties we've never seen connect
No.
before, and now we're gonna go. They all
I
coexist.
mean,
I
GI
feel
Joe and
like that's
Transformers
gonna
have
be
already in the comic books.
in the comics, but
Yeah.
that's still relatively like how many people do you think that don't
No. Nobody.
already read comics and stuff
No.
know that crossover happened?
Because and when you like, if you really think about this, there are
Yeah.
certain things within, say, the Hasbro family that
Hmm.
would make sense in terms of it working well together. Like GI Joe and Transformers can essentially offshoot into Mask.
Right.
That's and Micronauts would fit within there really easily as well.
Hmm.
Power Rangers is a tricky one. But
Yeah.
then people could say Power Rangers can link off from those two things also because robots and whatnot. It could just be another life form of robot.
Which is interesting, but it's like how does the scale compare for
Oh, Power
Transformers?
Rangers are huge.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, is there
Yeah,
anything that even
yeah.
compares to
They
that?
would yeah they would almost be like the combiners, the Transformers that multiple robots would form into a giant thing.
Okay.
That would essentially be
So
what
could you
a
see them doing like the Transformers and the Power Rangers link up to fight the Combiners? Are the Combiners bad guys?
yeah. The combiners are mainly bad guys. There's a couple of good guys, but there's a couple of combiners that are bad guys.
So like have them be the villains so that you can have a Megazord versus
This
Combiners
would be
fight at
tricky
the end?
because technically a Megazord is like. That's why I find this. It's gonna be tricky as because if the GI Joes are the primary heroes, I mean, in the Transformers films, we essentially saw what the GI Joes were already with all those soldier guys. They're
Right.
essentially GI Joes,
But
minus the
in
thing.
this scenario,
Yeah, yeah. This
because
scenario, it's gonna be tricky.
GI Joe was so much about having them have like crazy vehicles with
Yep.
missile launchers and shit on
Hmm.
it, it means if you do a combined GI Joe Transformers thing,
Would they be
that you're
riding
having
Transformers
each Transformer as being ridden
by
by
a GI
GI
Joe?
Joes.
That's nuts. But then, like, so for that to happen, how how much? What are the power levels in terms of the Power Rangers, or will it be somewhat like the how the Guardians are handled? They're kind of doing their own thing, but they meet up
Hmm.
for a bigger crossover event.
See, I'd love it if they did the Power Rangers where they are akin to the Guardians.
Yeah,
I mean, even in their
that's what makes it would
power,
make more sense to me. Yeah,
like you know how in the newer one they were basically all Superman or whatever. They all
yeah,
had
yeah,
like
yeah,
super strength
yeah, yeah.
and whatnot. Whereas I think if they kept it more level, like
Mm-hmm.
they're stronger than
Yeah,
humans.
yeah.
Like they're like Gamora.
Basically, oh, well,
Yeah.
Gamora's even super strong, but yeah, yeah.
She's super strong, but I mean not to the level.
Where she's a
They're not
Superman.
like yeah,
Yeah.
they're not like a Superman level
Mm-hmm,
strength.
mm-hmm.
She can pick up a big Gatling gun, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of
But not like, fly and do martial arts on buildings and whatnot if they had to.
right.
Because
Like
I think with the Power Rangers, my issue was like, if they're so dope as is, why would they even need a giant robot?
to fight other giant robots, I get. I mean, because that's the thing too. Because I'm like, essentially, it's such a bummer with that new Power Rangers that the monster was just like a big gold
Yeah, a
humanoid
big
thing.
melted gold thing.
Because think of how cool, like if they did like a big ass kaiju and the
Dude,
Transformers are fighting like a big monster or something, that would have been much
Like,
more
I think this Hasbro
interesting.
universe has potential to be really, really fun.
Right.
And that's all you kind of need to do, just make a really fun film.
I don't know enough about some of these. Like I remember Micronauts, but I don't know enough about it to be
Right.
like, oh man, I
Micronauts,
can't wait for
think of
Micronauts.
Micronauts like a team of Ant-Man.
Right. They can all
Yeah, they
shrink
fight
or
in like a microverse. So again, they could be a separate entity all in itself, but somehow, if they're going to do the crossover thing, they exist within, the same universe.
do you know offhand what other properties are included in
I
this?
don't know because Hasbro, like, they keep doing different things. They keep updating their own information
Hmm.
regarding what films they're going to use. Like for a while, I think Transformers wasn't even part of this reboot thing yet. They were going to kind
Right.
of hold off on doing a reboot of Transformers until they've got a couple of the other ones, more established.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's to also forget about all the things that have already happened with Transformers because you don't really want to link it back.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
going to be its own thing, it has to just be its own thing. So
Do, do you think? Do you think that? I don't. Do you think that this Bumblebee thing, like if it does really well, that they'll keep that going separately because it's like Bumblebee from the Bayverse
it is,
technically,
but
right?
it is technically visually, it's almost like
Have they shown the design
no,
because
not really.
it's
Like only in
it's
toys.
80s.
Yeah, yeah,
They've
only in
shown it in
toys.
toys.
Yeah, but like the toys, these toys aren't exactly the best representation. They said a trailer's gonna come out next week.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to see the toys though. Is it? It's based off the old Beetle though, right?
No, yeah, it's a beetle. He's a beetle.
Okay, yeah,
He's a beetle.
right.
Now that's the thing. Like people were there's I read a few things where they say that this Bumblebee film is could almost be considered like what Thor Ragnarok did, where it kind of makes sense within it, but it's almost a reboot in itself.
Right, like a soft
Yeah, like a
relaunch or
soft
whatever.
reboot within the thing. Because if they were to start, oh, almost like X Men First Class,
Hmm.
where it fits, but it doesn't. But it's its own thing at this point, even though it kind of harkens back to things that were already established. So I don't even know.
Hmm.
So, but in
Well,
terms
that
of the,
sucks. That sucks for Cena, I guess.
right, all right. So,
And I mean, unless they just keep that going, but
upcoming
you know.
films in the Hasbro verse.
Okay.
Um, there's a the Bumblebee film is obviously this year.
Hmm.
There's a new GI Joe film.
A new GI Joe film. Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
And
And that
Micronauts.
I'm assuming that's also like completely new. They're not keeping
I
any of the
think it's going
like
to be a
the
completely new
Rock
thing.
or any of
Yeah,
that
I
shit.
think it's going to be a very, very brand new thing.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And Micronauts.
Hmm.
And it says Untitled Dungeons and Dragons reboot.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. I remember them talking about doing Dungeons and Dragons before, but I didn't know it was part of this Hasbro verse.
Right, right.
I,
Okay.
but that's for sure part of it, or that's just.
It's just a Hasbro thing. But the ones that are
Hmm.
going to be part of the shared one is
Hmm.
Micronauts, GI
Hmm.
Joe,
Okay.
Visionaries.
What the hell is
It's
Visionary?
Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. It's like it's another '80s toy. Yeah, yeah.
That's no clue what that
Right.
is.
Mask
Okay.
and Rom.
The Space Knight or
Yes.
whatever.
No mention of
Which
Transformers,
Wait,
but
what was the
that's
one before Rom?
Rom was Mask. Mask. That's where they're
Mask.
basically guys with that ride vehicles.
Whoa.
Yeah, but the vehicles are like the vehicles transform. That's why like most of these things are like when you think about it, since they're based on toys, they were all things that would make sense as actually toys and action figures. It was like the vehicles within vehicles, if that makes sense. Like
Great.
there's like a boat that comes
Did
out
you
of
see
a
that?
truck.
Did you see that the second part of Toys That Made Us is up?
I did. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch all of it yet. I only
Okay.
watched. I started with the Transformers one,
Yeah.
which was fascinating to
It's
me.
very fascinating how it kind of goes back in and of itself.
Right, right.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. It was really interesting.
Seeing the origin and how it started with a GI Joe
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. They're
Yeah.
like, let's clear GI Joe. Now we're on the road to Hinchins and all
Yep.
kinds of
And then
manners
let's
crap.
make robot suits, and then that goes back to America, and then it
Right,
goes back to Japan.
right.
Then America tries it for a while, and then it fails, and then they go back to Japan.
Yeah. It's if you guys haven't seen the show,
Yeah, you should
definitely
definitely
check
watch
it
it.
out. Netflix, The Toys That Made Us.
Dude, the Hello Kitty
Um,
one is great.
did I watch that one
That
yet?
was
That's
episode
awesome.
4.
Okay, yeah.
That's the last one. That one was a good one.
Yeah, I look forward to that one
Yeah,
too
that
then.
was a good one.
But
Yeah,
but
those are the
yeah,
films that are listed, and there's no real mention of Transformers, but it's certainly safe to assume that Transformers has to be part of that, considering how big that franchise is.
right. What else we got
Next,
on the news?
last on the news is so Jamie Foxx, he's Spawn.
Yeah. You know, I did want to talk about this actually.
Okay,
Um, the Spawn thing.
sure.
Um, I just feel like they're doing it the
Wrong
like
way.
I kind of wish they weren't doing it this way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I keep hearing about going to Blumhouse and they're doing it as like a horror movie where Spawn like pops out in the shadows and like he's kind of like more of a Jaws kind of monster thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know why they need Jamie Foxx for that. Like, are we going to even see him in a
It could be a
suit of
stunt
any kind?
actor with a voice.
Right. You know, if they even have an actor,
Right, right. Could be a CG
uh,
dude. Again, hire a cool voice guy.
it's got to be Jamie Foxx. It's not.
That's
They're not
not a
going to
cool
hire
voice guy.
him. But they're not going to hire him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he
Unless he's
doesn't
playing
do the
like
voice of
the
Spawn.
the, the human version of him, where his human counterpart.
I think it
Like
might be akin to like Tom Hardy Venom, where he's putting on a voice and they distort it or something.
cool, cool. I guess.
as long as his Al Simmons isn't like his Max, his fucking Electro character,
If
his
it is,
nerdy comb over Electro character.
I don't know, man. You know what, with this Spawn thing,
I
whatever.
just, I wish that, I wish that they would take it more, I guess, kind of the Deadpool route. Not funny, but I mean, like, embrace the design of the
Oh
character.
yeah, he has to look exactly like the
Like,
way.
give him the full on leg pouches and the, like, bandoliers and shit and the, like, big machine
The
guns. And, like,
chains,
yeah, make him, like, full on the Spawn
Spawn.
that everybody
Mhm.
knows
Mhm.
because that's the Spawn everybody remembers. They don't remember this current version where it's like, you know, he's just kind of a demon or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
some of the art is still crazy, like
Sure.
the
Sure. Sure.
Capullo stuff is still nuts. But I feel like the Spawn that everybody like really remembers is like the HBO
Mhm.
cartoon era
Dude,
Spawn,
because that's Spawn.
right? You know, give him the giant collar and all that crap. I still think you can have the horror element and
For sure.
embrace what his
For
design
sure.
is. Just have him do scarier shit to people, but his design is still fully the comic book look. I think would
Mhm.
be dope.
And the whole horror aspects, you can implement that with his villains.
Yeah, exactly. Because all his villains are crazy looking.
Right. I mean, he
Um,
goes to hell. That's kind of, it makes the most sense.
I had a related question.
Mhm.
Do you think at all that the first Spawn movie, while I love John Leguizamo, I thought with what he was given, he did as good a job as he
He
possibly
did a
could.
bang up job.
But do you think that that movie would have been improved at all by just hiring like a Danny DeVito to where you just have a guy there that's the right stature, closer to
Probably.
the right build that you can make up? Because like think of what he did with like the Penguin.
Yeah. Oh, it's that's still the honestly that's still the best penguin in my head.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, it's not going to be topped. It's going to be
To me,
very difficult. It has to be different. If they're going to do penguin again, it has to be a different penguin.
legitimately, I think Catwoman and Penguin in that movie are level with Heath Ledger's
Oh,
Joker as far as
easily.
Batman villain
Easily.
depictions.
Easily.
I really do.
No, easily.
Um,
That's not even without that's there's no question about that.
I just I don't think they get enough credit now that
I don't think they
you know
do.
that we're far from the movie.
People don't even like put Batman Returns as a good
That movie's
comic book movie,
that
which
movie's
is weird
legit
to
to
me
me,
because I'm like kind of like that more than the first Batman.
right?
Like,
Yeah, I agree.
but I don't know this Spawn thing. Just stop talking and get it done. I know it's easier said than done. Obviously, it's definitely easier said than done.
Yeah,
But just do it. Just make it.
I agree. Let's see it. I mean, it's McFarlane directing it, which is
Yeah,
kind of like
he
the
is directing it.
scarier thing to
Yeah,
me.
has he directed anything?
No,
Yeah, cool.
I mean, like, granted, as far as like the shot, the actual shot for shot directing, he might be okay at that.
Right.
Because you know he's done comics for forever, so
Sure,
he's
absolutely.
got an eye for framing.
Like
But
storyboarding is not a problem.
exactly, I just don't know if he'll have the like make the directing the actors,
Hmm.
the directing the pace of the movie and putting all the stuff together in the way that you'd want.
For
But
sure,
I'm
for
sure
sure.
he can probably give us some really cool looking
Oh
shots.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Visually, I think there's gonna be some cool shots, but
right?
I don't expect like I'm not expecting much of this film, and that could be both. That could be great because it could surprise the crap out of us.
Right. That's kind of what I'm expecting out
Mm-hmm.
of this is a cool looking movie
Mm-hmm.
that maybe isn't all that great.
Right. Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But that's it for the news. The now we'll get on to the main portion of this episode, which is we both saw. When did you say it? Solo, Star Wars film,
Mm-hmm. I
which
saw
is
it Thursday.
okay, cool. I forget when I saw it. Maybe Wednesday. Was it this week or was it the week before? I don't remember. I think it was last week.
Yeah, whatever
Oh
the
yeah, it was. I
day
saw it
before it
last
came out.
week. I didn't say
Yeah.
this week. I saw it the week before. Um, so it was a Star Wars prequel, I guess. It kind of takes place before, I guess, years before A New Hope. After Episode 3, though.
Right.
And it's about Solo, Han Solo. Were you really looking forward to this film when you before you watched it? Or you just didn't
Um,
care?
I wouldn't say that I didn't care. I think the only thing I was like really looking forward to about it was Donald Glover's Lando.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the design update to him, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked the shots, what the actual shots looked like that he was in the
Sure.
trailers. I thought the villain design was kind of cool in the trailers. They have a kind of Destiny character looking,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I
like
thought, yeah.
pirate character.
Based on the trailers,
Um,
they looked cool. I was like, ooh, they looked cool.
yeah, so I was kind of looking forward to that and seeing how. I guess because I'm not huge in the Star Wars,
Right, right.
but I know enough about Star Wars to go. I know the Kessel Run is a thing,
Yep.
so I am looking forward to seeing what the Kessel Run
Mm-hmm.
is. Is
Mm-hmm.
my idea going in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was kind of it. And I think because everybody was kind of scrutinizing the movie ahead of time because the directors had changed. It
Right,
was
right,
supposed
right.
to be the Lego Movie guys, but then it ended up not being them. And then it's Ron Howard
Mm-hmm.
instead. Um, and I don't know how it didn't feel to me. I guess jumping right in, it didn't feel to me as at
Right.
all disjointed like the Justice League switch over on the directors was, where you're like, part of this was a different guy, part of this was a different guy. Whereas like in Solo, it felt like one movie to me. I
Mm-hmm.
never, but I also don't know how much they
Right.
redid.
Right, right, right. Okay, before we get into any like spoilery whatever talk,
Yeah.
would you recommend to watch this film? Did you enjoy it?
Yes. Yes, I did. I think it's of the new Star Wars movies that have come out. It's probably my favorite one.
I'm gonna say the same, probably. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun with this one. Like, as a film on its own, a lot of
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah.
Connected to the universe, also, it connected enough without having to. It didn't feel like it was forcing references on me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of situations where it's like everything that you've ever heard about Han Solo is happening in this one movie.
Right, which is, yeah, sure.
Which is kind of lame. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they definitely saved some stuff for a maybe sequel later.
Right, right, right. Which I'd be down to watch.
I would be too. I don't know if it's going to happen now, but
Right, right,
I would be
because of how
down
it's doing.
to see it.
But yeah,
But
I guess we both recommend it. Now let's. If there's
yeah,
anything we're gonna spoil, we're probably gonna do it now.
yeah.
So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. If you have and want to keep listening, keep listening. What did you enjoy in the film specifically? Now that we can kind of spoil
Well,
things.
um, I liked first. I really liked I think that they successfully made some sort of connection work between his character or the Han Solo character and Kira, I guess
Kira, yeah, the girl.
the female
Yep,
lead.
yep.
It's probably one of the first times I've seen. Oh man, what's her name? The Khaleesi girl.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, her. It's the first time I've seen her in a while um, where I like legitimately liked her in the thing.
Right.
Like, she was in something else I saw, but she just kind of didn't really
I mean,
stand
she
out
was
to
in
me. Just
the Terminator movie.
right, yeah. In Terminator, like there'd be like occasionally I'd see like some angle they'd hit on her while they're filming where I'm like, she kind of looks like Linda Hamilton a little bit.
Right. But it wasn't enough to be
But
like, oh,
right, like just their personality, their kind of demeanor didn't match because Linda Hamilton was such a hard ass.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't know. It was different with that one.
yeah, so I didn't really care for her all that much in that, but in this one, I quite liked her, and quite liked. I thought their connection to each other kind of worked. Like there's the
Emilia
scene.
Clarke is her name.
There you go, Amelia Clark. Jeez.
I didn't look. I
Uh,
couldn't find her name looking it up, but I just remembered now.
um, when they did the scene where they're trying to get through the gate and they're like bribing their way out or whatever.
Hmm.
When one doesn't get through, it's legitimately like
Oh, that
you're
sucks.
bumped for
Yeah,
it.
I was like, oh no, what's gonna happen now? Like, this ain't cool.
Um, but speaking of before that, when they're leading up to that, what did you think of that first scene where you're getting a good look at your first set of like Star Wars aliens because they go to a kind of the big boss, I guess,
Yeah,
around
yeah,
where
yeah.
he does this thing, and it's like a big ass worm
Yeah,
lady.
yeah. It was like it looked like almost like a caterpillar-ish. Like,
Yeah, like Alice in
hmm
Wonderland type of crap.
I thought the aliens here looked really cool to me.
Did it not seem weird to you though that
Yes.
all the aliens are all like speaking a different language,
Mm-hmm. But they're
but then
speaking
the
human.
main one comes out and she's speaking to English and
Mm.
she sounds like, "Hey, what are you?
Right, right.
What?" Didn't that
It does
sound
throw
like,
me off. Like, I don't know. Star Wars is so weird.
dude? The scene when they go to the to Vision's like yacht
Hmm. He was
and they
great, by the
have
way.
the jazz singers and
Yep.
there's like the one in a jar that's like hoo hoo
Yeah.
hoo hoo.
That made you laugh. I figured.
I died.
I
I
figured.
died.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so
I
funny.
didn't see it coming.
Oh man, that
I
thing
didn't
was
see it coming.
incredible. Um,
Yeah, just the world of like Star Wars is so bizarre. When you really think about it, it is bloody weird.
yeah, they
And
have
I
a
think
lot
this
of
film
bizarre
embraced it
designs.
pretty damn well.
I think so too. I think so too.
Um, yeah, there was a lot of scenes. Like, what did you think of actually the casting all around?
The kid that played Han Solo, I thought did a fine job.
Hmm.
There was even a couple scenes where I was like, I kind of get him like channeling something Harrison
Yes.
Ford did, how he would look at something. I could kind of like I would get little glimpses of him, like he studied
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But I still like visually, he doesn't look
No,
anything like Harrison
that was
Ford.
yeah.
Like he
Like,
doesn't look anything like the silhouette of Han
mm-hmm.
Solo as I imagine. Like he's got a really like short neck
Yeah.
and he's kind of like a pinched face, and
That's
Harrison
yeah.
Ford's face is like really open and expanded.
I
Um,
know there was that other
it's
actor
really
where he
bizarre.
looks like a young Harrison Ford, and they probably could have done well with him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they necessarily had to try and get a
No, no,
look-alike.
right,
I
and
just
like the
think
fact that
that
because he felt
somebody with the
like a
right
younger him.
silhouette.
Yeah, yeah. It needs to feel like the character. Although I do agree there were certain scenes where I'm like, no, I could believe this was Han's character before everything.
Yeah, I just don't think they established his age well enough, and it
Right.
seemed like this movie wasn't far enough from the first Star
Exactly.
Wars
Mm-hmm.
movie to for him to feel as young as he did. Because
Right. Right.
it seemed to me like 19, 20-year-old Han Solo,
Mm-hmm.
but it seemed like he's actually supposed to be like 26-year-old Han Solo
That's
or
why
something
it
like
was
that.
bizarre. Like, how old was Han when we first actually met him in
Like
A New Hope?
30 apparently. Well,
Okay.
Harrison Ford was 30,
Right. Okay.
so
Let's assume he's 30. This one, he
yeah,
feels like he needed to be
much young. It
like
seemed much
he
younger to
needed
me.
to be. How old do you think? Well, how old was he supposed to be in this film? They didn't establish
I
that at all.
imagine I imagine he's like mid
See,
20s.
I was imagining he needed to be like early 20s.
Oh yeah, yeah, so the way that he acted him, he
Mm-hmm.
seemed much younger to me, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say because there's not any situations in Star Wars where you're like, well, if he's young, he won't be able to drink at this
Right.
cantina or something
It's a
like that.
universe which doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah,
You
he's
can drink
just
when you're
Han
4.
Solo. Yeah, does it not seem at all odd that in the same universe where if you had to show Princess Leia again young, you used a CGI face.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're showing Harrison Ford again young, you cast an actor that looks nothing like him. So
Oh no,
there's like these
it's
weird
very yeah.
inconsistencies.
It's incredibly inconsistent.
It's so important to show
Yep.
young Leia looks like Leia did,
Hmm.
but not as important to show that young Han looks like Han. Because what would it have been like if they had cast this dude and he was kind of him, but they did like a face replacement and did the like young Kurt Russell thing, but gave him young
Young
Harrison
Harrison
Ford
Ford.
face.
Would people would be up in arms?
And it would probably be so terrifying looking
Yeah.
throughout the movie.
And
Like,
at that
I
point,
don't know how
at that point,
successful it would have been.
they probably just would have said, "Why don't you cast that one fellow who actually does resemble a young Harrison Ford?"
Right. If you're gonna go to that
Right.
extreme,
I mean, with the Princess Leia scene, I guess people would have been more bitchy because that scene would have taken place prior, just moments before
right.
A New Hope, as opposed to this one being, let's say, between a decade and 5 years before A New Hope.
Even if it's 5 years
Yeah.
though, people don't
No,
change
no, for real, they
that
don't. Not
drastically.
5 years. That's a
Like I'm gonna grow another foot tall and my face is gonna be
like
completely
unless you
different.
were from 10 to 15,
Right.
there's usually a big change then. But when you're 25 to 30, unless you gain, lose weight, all those things, get a scar or two, whatnot, change hair, not much
Mhm.
really changes.
So you said you liked Bettany as his character
I
in
think he
this.
was cool.
Did it not? Did it not seem? Because did you know anything about the production stuff ahead of time going in?
I found out after the fact that it was actually he was cast in afterwards.
Right. He
He
was
had to replace, yeah, they had
recast
to
some of
replace
the.
somebody because of filming schedule at that point.
Like I don't have any like maybe the other guy would have been better or
Right,
anything like
right,
that. I
right.
don't have that expectation, but all his scenes I did feel like because I knew that that he was replacing somebody. It felt like the same as in the Bay Ninja Turtles, how they like
Oh,
retconned the
mm-hmm.
white Shredder and
Yeah, yeah,
added
yeah,
Japanese Shredder,
yeah,
but
yeah.
all his scenes were in one room.
Right, right.
All Bettany's scenes are in that one
I
like
don't.
yacht
I didn't
space.
mind that.
I
That
mean,
didn't.
it's not that I minded it. It's just that I couldn't not pay attention to it because I
Oh,
knew that
okay.
because I knew that there was
See,
reshoots.
I didn't
I'm
know of
like all
reshoots of
all
like
his
that.
scenes are in one place. Why is that? It was a lot more seamless because his set had people in it,
Yeah,
whereas the
yeah.
Ninja Turtles one was
That's
literally
that
like a
one. Yeah, I
box
mean the
with
Ninja
foot
Turtle,
soldiers
yeah,
or whatever.
with some lighting at the background that
Yeah.
look like there's windows and stuff, and there's prop
So
ninjas like kneeling. This one,
exactly.
yeah, this one it felt like in my head because I only found that after the fact. In my head, I was
Mhm.
like, oh no, that's his office essentially, his office living space. That's where he works, so that's where he'll always
Right.
be. He'll handles all his business there, so he doesn't actually have to leave anywhere.
Which is fine. That
Yeah,
story wise is
right, right.
justified. But I wonder if before
It
they
would have
did the
been different.
reshoots,
Okay.
if that character was in more air, more
Mm,
scenes.
we'll never know, man. At this point.
Um. So I guess jumping ahead a bit.
Yeah, let's just jump all over.
What did you think of the, I guess, kind of Kira twist with she's working for the Red, what do they call it, Crimson Dawn or
Crimson Dawn,
something?
which sounds pretty cool.
All right, and then the Crimson Dawn's leader ends up being Darth Maul
Cool. Good. Let's
with
use him.
robot legs.
Yep. Let's go with that. I mean, if if everything in the animated shows are part
Hmm.
of the canon, then he is alive, and seeing him in the film now is like cool. It's now linking back now. Like now
And
things that take place.
I was wondering when I saw it if they got like Ray Park to come
They
back,
said
but
he
I
did.
think did they?
They
Because
say
to
he
me
did.
it legitimately looked like just a CGI
Oh,
character.
okay. They say he did. Like he's a much older now. He does look slightly different. It's
But
not his voice
yeah,
though. As in
right.
like
It's Sam Witwer's
yeah, they
voice.
didn't get Peter Serafinowicz to do it.
Yeah, it's a homie from Being Human.
Yeah, yeah. Which voices him in the cartoon.
Right, right.
So it's
Um,
like that's cool.
do you know that guy's like he's the Star Wars champ or something on Schmodown?
Nice. Well, it makes sense. He's a big Star Wars geek.
Apparently, he's like savant for
Yeah,
Star Wars stuff.
that's good, man. It
But
makes sense.
in any case,
He's also a star killer.
I know. I really.
Dude,
That's the
they
only
need
thing that
to.
bums me
I
out
know, and
because
it
I
really
really
does.
wish he was canon.
That really
That character
does.
was so tight, dude.
Like having a story within a story, and that story is
Hmm.
cooler almost than the
All
main
right.
story. I'm just like,
Hmm.
I would follow a movie, a one shot Star Killer film.
I
That way
wish
you
they'd
get
do
your
it
Vader.
because he still looks like that.
I
Just
know.
let him do it.
That way you get your Vader.
Hmm.
Everyone loved like in Rogue One. Everyone's favorite scene was Vader being Vader.
And we never got to see in any other situation Vader's apprentice.
Nope.
That's where Vader's apprentice
I
was.
wish he'd be like. Hopefully, just do it. Even
I,
be if it
I
was like a
want it real
Netflix.
bad, but we're
Even
not
if it
gonna
was a
get it.
Netflix 4 episode
Fuck! Don't
season.
even talk about it because I want that real bad.
Because I would
I don't
watch
want.
like that's one that I would actually give a shit about watching.
Oh yeah, fully, man. It'd be
Vader's
dope as fuck.
apprentice, who was almost about to kill him, but obviously Vader's Vader.
And he was supposed to be like
Oh,
legit
the
crazy
best.
because those games were just about this guy is insane at using the Force. So
Give me
I don't know.
that,
That'd
man.
be rad.
Give me
I
that.
would love it.
Give
I'd
me
love it.
that. But yeah, it was cool seeing. That means obviously the possible. The talks about having a what is that? An Obi-Wan film.
I know there's supposed to be Boba Fett now.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of different talks. They can easily retcon who Boba Fett is, make him actually make sense, make him be of relevance.
Supposedly, when Josh Trank was doing it, it was going to be Michael B. Jordan was going to take over as Boba Fett.
Okay, so he basically it's a mantle. Boba Fett is a mantle, not just.
That was his version, but who knows what it'll be
I'm
now.
fine with it being a mantle
Um,
because I know people had issues with how the Boba Fett story actually is.
right. Um, I don't know, man. I don't necessarily feel like I want there to be hella Star Wars movies every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, it for some reason it feels very different than the Marvel
Yep.
universe because the Marvel universe is several stories that all have lead characters,
Bingo.
whereas Star Wars is one story, and they're deciding to pick and choose which characters are lead characters.
That's why I kind of wish like Star Wars would feel bigger.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish it. I kind of don't wish it did. I feel
What?
like
So
I
you
wish
want
it
them?
was.
You'd rather Star Wars focus on the Skywalker family and that bloodline specifically. The
I'd
world is
rather that
so
the
vast.
movies did
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh
because
yeah, that would
that's
make
what they
sense.
have all
Yep,
these
yep.
other shows and
That's true.
stuff.
That's true.
Just let the Star Wars movies be the episodic main story arc.
Which is that bloodline, that whole the
Right.
Force. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that would make sense. But you would like, wouldn't you want to see some of the thing in the big screen? Some of the other, like again, the Star Killer thing. Although would that be a film? Would that be better as a series, like a mini
I think it'd be
series?
better as a series. I could imagine it being better as a series for sure. Um, Again, you're talking about doing it on Netflix or even Disney wants to do their own
Yeah,
streaming
yeah. I was
service.
gonna say
So
they do a Disney exclusive.
if they did it there, I would watch that for sure.
Yeah, I
But
would too.
they'd have to do it fast because Whitwer's not getting any younger.
Right. And it would only
Um,
make sense if it was that age. I wouldn't want it to be animated either. I want it to be live action.
yeah, because it'd be cool. Like get like the
Yeah.
Enter the Badlands people and
Oh,
just be like,
dude, don't
make
even say that.
Jedi, make
I don't know
Jedi
if you're
version of
watching
that.
that show still.
I'm not, but I want to.
It's pretty good. I'm behind, which is good because I like playing catch up.
Right.
It's really
Um,
cool that show.
yeah, I definitely want to, and I know that the third season just started.
Oh, it did. Okay. Mm.
I know it just came
Right,
back
right.
recently.
I'm glad that it's still going. That's what I'm thinking. I'm happy
Yeah, I
about
was
that.
surprised that it was
Yeah,
still
yeah.
going. I
Because
thought that was
people
going
are
to
enjoying it.
be an undone
Yeah,
thing.
because I'm like, oh no, this show is too different. It's too original that it's definitely gonna get canceled.
Right, that's what I thought
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going to happen.
Usually that's the case.
But I just hope that the Foley has gotten better because that was my main
Right,
issue
right.
with the first season was the Foley was garbage.
The action was legit.
Action was
Yeah.
fantastic. It just if there it's all terrible sound effects, it's
Mm-hmm.
distracting
Like have
from the great
chunkier
story.
sounds. Have sounds that make more sense.
Exactly,
But yeah,
exactly.
back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Um, I it basically it either the way it ended, it's almost like it's open to a sequel or it's open to more spin-offs.
Yeah, because they didn't establish any of the stuff with how he knows Jabba the Hutt.
Nope, not
They
yet.
did say something about like there's a crime
Mm-hmm.
boss or whatever,
Which
blah
is
blah,
obviously
to
that.
yeah, to set that up. But they didn't have him meet Boba Fett, which they could have happen in the Jabba the Hutt sequel
Mm.
thing. I really feel like, okay, so one of the things they made sure to include that they kind of, I feel like they did for the fans was Woody Harrelson's character when he inevitably, because everybody knew he was going to turn on them
Yeah.
eventually, when his character turns on Han at the end,
Mm.
he starts to give like a in your final lesson,
Yep. Yep.
and Han just shoots him instead
Yep.
because you know here he shot first.
Yep.
There,
Han shot
it's
first. Yep.
it's official.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is funny because you assume that was what was going to be the final lesson is always shoot first or
Yep.
something
Yep.
like
No,
that.
he already was like, oh, I've learned already. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. After all this, after what you've done, I know what I'm gonna do now.
Right.
You didn't even
So
have to tell me.
because they got that out of the way, I feel like one of the only other things that they have left to kind of like, and here's where this comes
Mm-hmm.
from, I think is the Han. You know how Han and Leia have that moment where she says "I love you" and he just says "I know."
Yep.
I feel like that's gonna be Kira does that to
Yep.
him, and then like sacrifices herself or
Yep. Yep.
something and
Yep. Yep.
dies
Mm-hmm.
by Maul, or maybe not Maul because you have to assume he's never seen Jedi's or any of that shit.
Right. Because exactly. Because it's supposed to be all new to him.
Right. But somehow she's gonna die, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's gonna say that "I know" line to him
Yeah. Yeah.
right before she goes. If this sequel thing even
Of course. Of
happens now.
course. Of course. I'm down for another one.
Yeah, I do want to see another one. I
Like this
mean,
is actually one that I'd be like, yeah, I'm down for another one. This was fun time.
right. And I was telling Adam, my roommates or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that when we went and saw it, that I liked the kid. I thought they did a good job, like even establishing how he knew Chewie
That
and
was good.
and whatnot. I know there's supposed to be some kind of life debt thing with
Yeah, I didn't see
Chewie.
that yet.
I don't know if that's what that is referring to because
Right.
he saved his life because he was starving or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
he did.
But
He got him out there.
right, so that could be it, but I don't know
Maybe.
if
It
that's
didn't
a big
feel as great.
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would have thought, okay, if you're with him for life,
Hmm.
it would have probably been more than that. I mean, he saved him
Yeah,
a couple of times as well, like during the cool train chase.
right. And but again, who knows what happens in this
Right.
supposed sequel? Maybe that's
Absolutely.
where the thing
Maybe
happens.
that's where it really actually sticks.
But yeah, I think the "I love you, I know" thing is how they end that because then it's like
It's a recurring thing for him.
right, and then it shows why he would be maybe more hesitant when he meets Leia or
Hmm.
whatever. So
There was a lot of cool shots in this film. There was also a lot of shots where I'm like, I couldn't see a lot.
yeah, a lot of shaky shit. You mean?
Shaky, dark.
Mm.
I do like that when he was a soldier in the trench wars,
Hmm.
how it wasn't really like, the guards, Imperial guards and whatnot. It wasn't really like the stormtroopers. It was just kind of a bunch of soldiers.
I
Those
did like those scenes. I thought they were
Yeah,
cool.
they were. I thought they looked really cool. Like
Hmm.
just the setting of it was like really muddy, dusty.
It did really though. It really made me wonder what the Lego Movie guy version of this
Because they
movie
said
was
it
going
was
to
too
be.
funny,
Right. But I
like too
kind of
comedic.
wish I could have seen those scenes. Like I really do. Um,
Dude. There's too many films these days where
we
they're
know too
changing.
much.
Yeah,
That's all it
that's
is. We
exactly it.
know
We
too
know
much.
way too much. Like, look at the obviously Justice League. Look at the Josh
Right.
Trank Fantastic Four.
Right.
This one. There's too many things where I'm like, let the filmmaker make his film, and we'll see. I know it's a risk, but it could be. We
But
could get something that could be,
right.
one in itself.
Let your choice of who you got to
Do it.
do it. Yeah, and let it be what it is at the end, and learn from how it either works or doesn't work.
I mean, sorry,
Instead of doing these like half
in Marvel
jobs.
with the Ant-Man film, he didn't
Hmm.
start filming, did he?
Edgar Wright.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he had done just the test
Right.
footage.
See, okay, that's fine because they even that one they kind of like they shifted it before it even started.
Right.
So that's a whole different thing. They they use aspects of what he had done, but they
Hmm.
had to make it so that it would fit within the universe that they wanted to establish. With
Right.
these ones, it's like, oh, we've already filmed like half. We're not liking it.
Yeah. That, but
Let's
that
change.
is another one though that I, as good as that movie ended up
Yeah,
being, I really wish I could have saw what that initial
right. I wanted to
version
see
was
what
supposed
his
to
one
be.
was. I mean,
And I
it
and I
might not have
really
fitted
want to
over.
know. I really want to know what was the thing that was so important to Edgar that he wouldn't stick around and do it.
Right.
Like what was the change that Marvel wanted that he didn't want that was so important that
Hmm.
he leave. I really want to know what it was. I kind of feel like it was a lot more to do with Scott being a jerk. Like I think he wanted Scott
Scott to
Lang
be
to
not
actually be a
likable.
bad guy. Yeah, because he's kind of not great in the books. He's not as bad as Irredeemable Ant Man, which is
Yeah, yeah.
another
That's supposed to. He's that. You know.
right. But he's supposed to be a thief and whatnot.
I
And
don't know if like
I
with that version which that we never got. Who's to say we wouldn't even like the character? We might not like him at all. We might have liked him more. I don't know.
I mean, it was going to be an Edgar Wright movie, so you knew it was going to have charm. It's still Paul Rudd, so you weren't going to not like him.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like it's Paul Rudd, but in
But
that
I just
role,
imagine the stylization that would have been in that movie. Like Peyton Reed did a great
I
job,
think
but
Peyton
as
Reed did a
far
great
as
job.
like what kind of crazy different stuff there would have been as
Right,
far
right,
as the
right,
visuals in that
right,
movie,
right, right.
Edgar Wright, he's thinking on a different level. And the action scenes
He
would have been
does. He does.
bananas.
You see Baby Driver?
Yes.
Like that was great.
Had great visuals,
Mm-hmm.
great timing stuff that is meticulous, tiny
Yeah,
detail
very,
stuff.
very, very, very. And I'm sure some of
So
that was like within the script that I'm sure translated into the Payne Reed one, maybe, but not to the effect, obviously. Like they got
yeah.
aspects of it. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know, but who knows, man?
The
Like
second one looks like fun
the
though.
second one looks super fun. I can't wait.
Um,
Um,
so is there any more on Star Wars?
good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm open to a sequel. I'd definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Like before watching this, I was kind of like, yeah, it's a Star Wars film. I'm not big on I'm not super massive on Star Wars, but it looks
Hmm.
like it could be a fun film, and I was right. It was a fun film.
I wasn't expecting anything bananas, so I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. I liked it more than I liked Rogue One. I think Rogue One had a cooler scene because they had Darth Vader chopping people up all tight at the end.
But yeah, see
Darth,
that one scene,
Darth Vader didn't
we
really
could
do
get
a
that
lot.
scene if they did a Star Killer movie.
We really could, and I'd love to see that version
Give
of
me
Vader
that.
fighting
Yes, that's what I
Sparta.
mean. Because that Vader, we didn't get that Vader at all in any film.
No,
But you could get that
nope.
in a Star Killer. Anyway,
Yeah. So, anywho,
that's
I recommend it.
mm,
Check it out. It was
yep.
definitely, I think, my favorite of the new ones.
Of the new ones, it's definitely up there. It's a very very fun one that anybody can actually watch.
Yeah. But I guess we should break this one up so we can talk about
Yep, this is
Deadpool.
it for now. Next episode, Deadpool, which we're just gonna record.
So until the immediate episode after this, stay chipper chaps.
Stay chipper.